But Vinesh had no sleep. For even while we were sleeping, as we now know, she and her team were battling a few hundred grams of weight in order to meet the unbending laws of the Olympics. No matter what we say for Vinesh now, it will never be enough. No words can convey how much we share her crushing disappointment, and nothing will ever capture for us the sheer penetrating pain of a warrior on the cusp of history, of something new, a new life, a new world. As useless and helpless as one feels today, I do want to say that the gold medal had Vinesh Phogat's name on it. This is not said with emotion. I'm not trying to romanticize or sentimentalize an issue. Having slayed the world number one and humbled her Cuban opponent yesterday in the semi-finals, Vinesh was an unstoppable force. The world saw it. A rolling stone with momentum and grit that would almost definitely have propelled her to the podium's top position tonight. We can all alleviate our sense of pain and longing by saying that not every hero needs a medal, or that Vinesh is bigger than the little mat that is her entire world. But by doing so, we do great disservice to young Vinesh. We selfishly divert from a sports star's personal anguish. In order to feel better ourselves, we tell ourselves that a medal isn't everything. Wins and losses will happen. Well, here's the truth. That gold medal was everything to Vinesh Phogat. It was everything that she has spent 4 years working towards. It was everything towards what she has fought for and endured. And we all know what her last 12 months have been like. So by saying, never mind, she will bounce back, we aren't speaking so much for Vinesh as we are selfishly speaking for ourselves. In the last 24 hours, viewer, entire ecosystems and groups and political groups have used Vinesh Phogat as a mat on which to flex silly, petty politics. They've used Vinesh's able shoulders from which to settle petty political scores and make petty political points. I can't shake the thought that this idiotic, self-serving crossfire by the petulant and myopic was playing out precisely at a time when Vinesh was sitting in a sauna in Paris trying to squeeze any last grams out of her body through her sweat glands, dehydrated and exhausted, but her eyes still fixed on the prize. Even as she toiled to meet the cruel, unsparing standards of the Olympics, Vinesh was a figure over which unkind, selfish, and pathetic finger-pointing played out, as if she was somebody else's property. It was as if Vinesh Phogat wasn't her own self, wasn't an Indian athlete, wasn't a sports star, wasn't a hero representing India, but some ragdoll only worthy of that next bit of silly social media posturing. When Vinesh stands up, and you can be sure that she will be regarded as an Indian hero, our golden girl, but also very much just her own. And we've got an India Today world exclusive breaking now on 5 Live. We've just spoken to the World Wrestling Body Chief. His first interview to India Today. The World Wrestling Body Chief has just spoken out on Vinesh Phogat's disqualification. United World Wrestling Chief says nothing can be done. Rules are rules and they have to be respected. That's what the UWW Chief has just told India Today.
About Vinesh's unfortunate removal from this competition.
We have to respect the rules. I'm so sad that what happened to her. She had overweight, a very small one, but the rules are rules, and the weighing is public. All the athletes are there, and it's impossible to let someone to compete who doesn't make the weight.
People are saying that she made the weight on day one and reached the final. If day two she did not, maybe disqualify her from the final but allow her to get that medal because she won fair and square in the first few games?
Impossible, because the brackets are changing, everything is changing, and anyway, the rules are rules. Everybody who goes to this continues, they know they have a second weigh-in the next day.
There has been an appeal. Can anything be done right now?
I don't see anything that can be done.
Sir,
The competition continues, and I really don't see that is possible.
Rahul Rawat is live with us from Paris. He's been fronting our coverage on what has been one of the most crushingly disappointing days for Vinesh Phogat, for sporting in general, and for millions of Indian fans who had been hoping and had been certain that today Vinesh Phogat would be winning a gold. She, of course, had been assured a silver. Rahul, my first question very quickly is, all options are now exhausted. The World Wrestling Body Chief has basically confirmed that there is no further recourse available. Is that correct? Nothing more can be done?
That's right, Shiv. At most, what the Indian Olympic Association or the Indian administrators can do is they can go and take their case before the court of arbitration. But as the rules have been clearly laid out, it's very difficult, virtually impossible if anything can be done. And also, there's a bout, there's a final to be played this evening here in Paris. And the international bodies, they've already announced Vinesh's replacement. So the girl who she had beaten in the semi-final will take her place and will compete in the final against the American wrestler.
And in terms of looking into what may have happened, overnight with Vinesh, the weight gain, the very, very strenuous attempts that you've been reporting about, Rahul, about trying to shed that weight in order to meet the stringent, unbending rules of the Olympics. Is that being looked into? Because questions are being raised about the support staff, the team. We've seen a clarification from Dr. Pardiwala as well. But will there be a deeper look into what happened?
See, I'll tell you, Shiv, this has happened. It's not for the first time that this has happened. Earlier, it happened with Sushil Kumar, a double Olympic medalist for India. And at that time, what happened was the coaches who were part of his team were penalized. They were reprimanded, they were penalized. But here, in this case, Federation at least cannot do anything because all these coaches, because Vinesh, one of the elite athletes in the country, she has her own coach, comes from Hungary. Then she has her own nutritionist, she has her own physio. So, by the way, everything is taken care of by the government. So, maybe the government can have a look into it and later, because these are all professionals, they should have known all these things, how to manage her weight. So, there has been some lapse, but for Vinesh, it must have been, it is actually very tragic. And also, we cannot forget the fact that she was competing in the 53 kg category. It is just that Antim Bangal now, she is the one who has taken over in that category. So she has reduced her weight category, Vinesh, and it is very difficult to reduce your weight, your natural body weight, and also compete with the same energy, with the same body strength, because your body will demand those kind of nutritions, those kind of food habits that you had been employing for the last so many years. So that's been the case for Vinesh. Unfortunate, but I think it's over as far as Vinesh's Olympic dream is concerned. It's tragic. The Indian Olympic, in fact, right now I'm headed to the Games Village where Vinesh was admitted.
Yes.
And the entire Indian contingent, the Indian administrators, including PT Usha, the IUA president, Chef de Mission Gagan Narang, are all present there, and they are expected to issue a statement in the short while. Hopefully, we'll get to interact with them in some time from now.
Okay, we'll catch up with you once you reach the Games Village. Rahul, thanks very much for being with me on those two crucial questions that we're asking right now. The Indian contingent was in for a shock that they were not expecting. Remember, overnight, there have been celebrations. There had been this huge mountain of hope that had been built up that a gold medal had Vinesh Phogat's name on it. She would have become the first woman wrestler to reach not only the Olympics final, but be assured a medal, suffering this massive heartbreak of disqualification. It still hasn't sunk in. So I ask all of you viewers to imagine what young Vinesh Phogat herself is going through. The elimination means that Vinesh's dreams of clinching an Olympic gold or a medal at all has come to a shattering end. Here's everything that we know so far.
Vinesh Phogat was on her way to creating history at the Paris Olympics. But just hours later, her dream was shattered as she was disqualified from the gold medal bout. The wrestler had defeated reigning Olympic 50 kg champion Yui Sasaki on her road to the final. In the semi-final, she had outclassed Cuba's Yuslenis Guzman 5-0 to assure at least a silver. However, on the morning of the final, Vinesh missed the weight cut by a little over 100 grams that led to her disqualification. The 29-year-old's campaign came to a morale-shattering halt as she was eliminated ahead of the final. Vinesh and his support staff tried everything, including extreme measures like cutting her hair and attempting to draw out blood, but all their efforts went to no avail.
In the morning, we found that despite all of our efforts, her weight was 100 grams over her 50 kilogram weight category, and hence she was disqualified. We had tried all possible drastic measures throughout the night, including cutting off her hair, shortening her clothes, and despite all of this, we could not make that 50 kg weight category.
The rules are very clear when it comes to such situations. If an athlete does not attend or fails the weigh-in, he or she will be eliminated from the competition and ranked last without a ranking. India have lodged a protest and the Wrestling Federation chief has vowed to take up the matter with the highest authorities.
उम्मीद पे तो हम टिके हैं और अभी हम लड़ रहे हैं। मैं तो अंतिम दम तक प्रयास करूंगा कि ये मेडल हम किसी भी तरह से मुझे फाइट का मौका मिल जाए और मेडल हिंदुस्तान की झोली में डालवा सकूं।
The Olympics, which is the highlight of an athlete's career, has never left happy memories for Vinesh Phogat. In Paris, her perfect redemption story was just one chapter away, but in a sheer anti-climax, Vinesh has been denied a place in history. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Now, Vinesh Phogat's disqualification has put the glare squarely on the wrestlers' support staff. The buck stops with them, and they must face some very, very hard questions because these are among the best support staff that any wrestler can have. Hours before her match, the team tried several measures to reduce the weight on Vinesh, including cutting her hair, trimming her clothes. But did the support team fail to strategize and foresee this possibility in order to manage Vinesh's weight? Why did the support team not foresee this? This kind of thing has actually happened before, literally, even with Vinesh. Is the support team, overseen by Olympic Gold Quest, guilty of any kind of incompetence? Should questions be asked of them as well? How come they had not war-gamed a situation of this kind in their mind? Even if there was a handful of grams, even 1 gram overweight, why was it that such a scenario did not occur to the team? Why did it feel like they were battling overnight with a young, exhausted athlete in order to meet rules that they knew beforehand simply could not be negotiated?
Vinesh disqualification is very shocking, and I met Vinesh at the Olympic Village Polyclinic a short while ago and assured her complete support of the Indian Olympic Association, Government of India and the whole country. We are providing Vinesh all medical and emotional support. The Wrestling Federation of India has filed an appeal to UWW to consider the decision to disqualify Vinesh, and IOA is following that up in the strongest possible manner. I am aware of the relentless effort made by Vinesh medical team led by Dr. Dingshaw Patiwala and the Chief Dimission Gagan Narang through the night to ensure that she could meet the competition requirements.
We had tried all possible drastic measures throughout the night, including cutting off her hair, shortening her clothes, and despite all of this, we could not make that 50 kg weight category. Following disqualification as a precautionary measure, Vinesh was administered some intravenous fluids just to prevent dehydration. And typically we get a few blood tests done just to make sure that everything is normal. So this process is going on at the local Olympic hospital here. All of Vinesh's parameters during this weight cut were normal. And throughout this process, she actually felt perfectly normal. Vinesh just interacted with IOA President Dr. Mrs. P.T. Usha and mentioned that although she is physically and medically perfectly normal, she's disappointed that this is her third Olympics and she had to be disqualified.
सर सबसे पहले तो आपकी पहली प्रतिक्रिया जानना चाहेंगे क्योंकि मेडल तो यहाँ पक्का था.
मेडल 100% पक्का था और गोल्ड मेडल था और ये हमारे 140 करोड़ देश की जनता का दुर्भाग्य है कि हम भारतीय कुश्ती का इतिहास बनाते बनाते रह गए.
एक सवाल अब जो जहन में आ रहा है वो ये कि काफ़ी करीबी मामला था. 100 ग्राम कहा जा रहा है, 150 ग्राम कहा जा रहा है, जो भी है. क्या सपोर्ट स्टाफ से यहाँ सवाल नहीं खड़े होंगे जो डाइटिशियन है?
100% ये सपोर्ट स्टाफ के का ही वो है क्योंकि उन्हीं के खिलाड़ी तो प्रैक्टिस करने में और इसमें है और इतनी बढ़िया परफॉर्मेंस विनेश ने दिया है और इसके जिम्मेदार वही होंगे.
So why was Vinesh disqualified? I mean, all the unanswered questions that we have right now, certain things are known which cannot be debated over. On Tuesday morning, Vinesh was within the 50 kilogram permissible limit. And that's why she was able to fight both her bouts. On Tuesday night, post a meal, she was found to be 2 kilograms overweight, which was not immediate a problem because she needed to do her weigh-in the following morning, that is this morning in Paris. On Wednesday morning, it was found that she was 100 grams overweight and that she had not lost enough. So she had worked the entire night in a sauna, skipping, cycling, exercises, all manner of measures being taken by her and her support team in order to manage that weight gain, in order to meet those strictures, but it simply wasn't enough and she was still found to be 100 grams overweight. Nikhil Naz is with us live from Paris. Nikhil, in terms of going into what happened, who's going to look into it now? It looks like as far as recourse is concerned, as Rahul was telling us, there's nothing left to do. Rules are rules. Nothing more can be done in terms of protests, etc. But at this point of time, emotionally or otherwise, people are looking for someone to blame.
Well, Shiv, I mean, someone will have to take the blame, I agree. It'll have to be the support staff. We heard from the wrestling chief back home in India making it very clear that they will have to investigate. Why is it? Because, yes, she has gone down her natural weight limit. Remember, her natural weight is around 57. Last few years, she's been wrestling in the 53 kilogram category. So it's possible to drop those 4 odd kilos. But if you expect a wrestler to drop 8 to 10 kilos, it's not easy, and it's been a very tough road. I might, want to remind our viewers, this isn't the first time. Some few months ago, when she actually secured the quota to qualify for the Olympics, she was fighting in the 50 kilogram category. At that time also, she found it very tough to reach that 50 kilo limit. So this wasn't the unknown. This is something that her support staff knew, that it will be a tough problem going forward. They managed it on the eve of her first day. because remember before that she wasn't competing, so you could really manage her diet. Now they were caught in a catch-22 sort of a situation, because here is an athlete that's fought 3 bouts back to back. Before that, you can actually cut down the entire intake of salt, water. They do all of that, right? No meals at all. They do it. But now that she's competed and has a final the next day, she has to have 1 meal, and it's only 1 meal that she had. You have to replenish the salt back into the body. All of those things were done. But maybe the calculation went awry, and which is why that 100 grams in the end could not be managed. I'm hearing a lot of theories saying, she could have cut her hair, she could have done this. Believe you me, they tried everything. She did not sleep the entire night, tried to do cycling, skipping, jogging. Even just to let you know about the rules, you have 15 minutes once you do in the first weigh-in, and if you found overweight, you are given 15 more minutes. Even in those 15 minutes, they kind of tried various things, but it wasn't to be. And eventually, that 100 grams has cost us. Shiv, I don't know how long you're going to be live, but just to let you know.
Yes.
I can see PT Usha, who's the IOA head here. I can also see Gagan Narang, who's the chef de mission. They might be speaking to us live anytime. What I'm going to try and do is, as soon as they come live, and they're coming live now, if you have time, I'll probably cut to it live on our feed.
We'll do that. We'll do that, Nikhil, absolutely. We'll stay on your camera.
Yeah, just...
If they're going to be speaking, then we'll cut right back to your camera.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to speak, because it's going to stay live on your camera, Nikhil.
We are live. Ma'am, we are going live. We are already live. We are going live.
Okay.
1 second. Let me lay on the rule. She will speak. Dr. Parthiwala will speak. We will talk about questions later.
पवन होल्ड कीजिएगा 1 सेकंड राज सर
Just give me a second.
सर रनक सर अंदर आ जाइए प्लीज बाहर आ रहे हैं रघु सर भी आप भी बाहर आ रहे हैं यार पीछे आ जाइए यार आउट ऑफ द रेडी सर
After hearing the news that Vinesh Phogat is disqualified, I am shocked and I am disappointed also. And I had come here and met the Vinesh, and she was physically okay and medically also she is okay, but mentally she is a little bit disappointed. And whatever yesterday night, our support staff, her support staff and our support staff all are with her to reduce the from weight from increase to 2.7 to 50 kg. So they were trying their best, and even I am here to village because I have to be with other athletes also, those who are going to participate today, and get them to be in the track. I think yesterday whole night doctors and all not slept, and they have done their maximum to be in, for Vinesh. So I think doctor will explain or yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll just give out a short statement. I think that will clarify things. So I think what's important to understand is that all wrestlers usually participate in a weight category that's less than their natural weight. This gives them an advantage since they are fighting with less stronger opponents. Now this process of weight cut involves a calculated restriction of food and water, and we also involve a lot of excessive sweating, which is done with exercise, with sauna, with steam, and thereby we achieve that weight cut prior to the morning weigh-in. Now this weight cut causes weakness and causes some amount of energy depletion, and this is really counterproductive to participation. And hence for participation we do need to then restore energy with some amounts of water and some amounts of energy foods. So you can see this is a fine balance. If you can reduce your weight, you're going to be fighting with less stronger opponents, so most wrestlers prefer that. At the same time, you have to have a strategy which, you are going to be able to get back your energy with enough water depletion, with enough water restoration and food. Now, this is typically calculated by the team with that wrestler. So Vinesh's nutritionist and team had calculated this to be about 1.5 kgs, and this is a team that's been working with her since many, many years. And she's extremely comfortable with that team, and this has actually worked with her in the past. So she took in that 1.5 kgs, which is necessary for her to be able to fight those 3 bouts. And I think it's important to remember that usually once you have this weight loss, it's by dehydration. So as soon as you take water, there's going to be a rebound increase in your weight. And during the bouts, because she had 3 really difficult bouts, she did need to have some amount of water because you do want to rehydrate, because otherwise it's going to be medically a problem to participate. So you do require some amount of nutrition and some amount of water. Now her post-participation weight at the end of the semi-finals in the evening was found to be 2.7 kilograms more than the allowed weight. And the team and the coach started off their usual process, which is of course limitation of water, no food, and you started with the whole process of sweating it out. And typically, you require some amount of time for that, but unfortunately we didn't have too much time. We had just 12 hours. So the whole night, the entire team, went ahead with this whole process of trying to reduce her weight, putting her in a steam and sauna, making her exercise, and whatever was medically possible, we tried our best to try and get that weight down. And when she couldn't sweat anymore, we even had to go to some drastic measures like cutting off her hair, and they wear a vest, so we shortened that vest, so even a few milligrams if we can reduce, we tried. And despite all of this, at about 7:15 to 7:30 is the weigh-in, and we wanted to try the best, so we got her weight done right at the end at around 7:29. It was unfortunately 100 grams over 50 kilograms. If we maybe had a few hours more, we could have achieved that 100 grams, but we just didn't have that time. Now, once she was disqualified, then the question was, as a precautionary measure, we do need to rehydrate her. And the best way to rehydrate an athlete is by giving an intravenous fluid. So we gave her a few intravenous fluids. She started eating and drinking. She's passed urine. And she's otherwise perfectly normal, physically and medically. We've got her blood tests done just as a precautionary measure. We always do that. That's a routine. And those blood tests are also okay. And Vinesh, of course, has interacted with IOA President Dr. Mrs. P.T. Usha. And, she's told her that, look, physically and medically I'm okay. But, of course, undoubtedly she's disappointed. This is her 3rd Olympics. She was really keen to try and do something for the country. But because of this 100 grams has been disqualified.
Dr. Padiwala, this is Vimal Mohan for Vinity. I just wanted to ask, because she has fought in this weight category earlier also, and this happened to all across the world. She's not the only athlete or only wrestler who has come through this process. Has it happened, this time, has it happened for the first time with her? Or do you have any precautionary measures so that it doesn't happen to other wrestlers? Somebody has to take some responsibility about it.
See, I think we need to remember that every human being is a little different. Every human being is going to be a little different from weight loss. Males are different from females. Age makes a difference. All this makes a difference. What's also important to remember is that usually you have a normal or a natural weight, and that's your normal natural weight, and you can cut that down. And typically, till February of 24, she was participating in the 53 kilogram weight. So normally, an athlete or a wrestler like her will be about 55, 56 and will go to the 53 weight, and that's the normal sort of process. And she was very comfortable with that process. But from February, because that category had already been occupied, and as you know, if only one wrestler from a country can go into one weight category. So since that weight category was already taken by another wrestler, she had 2 options. Either she cuts her weight down tremendously and tries to go to the 50 category, or she goes a weight up. But if she goes a weight up, she's going to be wrestling with much stronger athletes. And she felt that would be of no point because she's not going to be successful there. So after considering everything, and she took quite a lot of time to decide which would be the best option for her, she and her team took the call that they're going to go for the 50 kilogram weight category. And I think it was a good decision because, as you can see, she beat the reigning champion in that first round, and she was able to achieve that. Now, since February that she's been participating in this 50 kilogram weight category, this of course happens. Now, athletes when they're training, you don't want to keep them at 50 because if they are below their natural weight, there's a high chance of injuries taking place. So this is a sport with a lot of injuries and you have to really fine-tune and balance it. So your weight is slightly higher when you're training, but when the process of competition comes, then you drop your weight. And you drop your weight and it's relatively easier to do it for that first weigh in because you have enough time for that. But it depends also on how your bouts go on that first day. If you had just one bout, then it would have been no problem at all because then you have enough time to recover. But if you have had to go through 3 bouts and each of those bouts is difficult and you have to hydrate yourself, otherwise you're going to collapse out there, then you're going to have to do everything that you can do to participate well that day and then take the next challenge, which is, okay, now I need to lose my weight. And the time was short, but of course we're still going to do everything possible within our means. Within the limits of medical safety, we're going to do everything possible to cut that weight down. So that process started immediately. I think she did everything that she could. She didn't have one morsel of food. She took, almost no sips of water. And her entire team, which has been doing this in the past, was taking care of this whole process. Of course, all of us were there to support her and to just medically make sure that everything's going off well. If we had a little more time, I'm sure we'd have had it. Unfortunately, time just fell short and we just didn't have enough time to get that 100 grams out of her.
So when you say medical, parameters,
yes,
how close was she? And was there a point where you had to step in and say, I can't, or we can't push her anymore?
See,
was it close to that?
Well, we are all human beings and we have a limit and a capability of doing some amount of exercise. So when you have to sweat it out, if any of you exercise, you'll know that most of us will exercise for an hour or 2 hours. A really good athlete may train for 3 or 4 hours. But if you have to try and sweat it out for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, there's a limit to human endurance. So you're trying to sweat it out. You're trying to do it with a lot of other equipment that makes you sweat. You've got your heat covers and all that going on. And so we have to keep monitoring her. So our main aim was to monitor her and make sure that she's perfectly all right because medically that comes first. Participation, of course, is important, but at the same time, medically she needs to be okay. And so while medically monitoring her, fortunately, everything was okay. This is a process that she's done day in, day out since many, many years. She's been an Olympian. This is her 3rd Olympics. She's been doing this process. So she's been, accustomed to this. And fortunately, medically, of course, everything was okay.
Ma'am, there's been a lot of talk about appeals and protests. The WFI has also written to UWW, but we are just 4 hours away from the final bout starting. Is realistically there any chance of any sort of change in the decision that has already taken place of Vinesh being disqualified?
Actually, they'll go on rules only, but we have done from our part, we have done our best through world. Through that wrestling federation, and then even I am going to meet the World Wrestling Federation president also just now. Doing our best.
Ma'am, you said initially that you have spent time with her, but how is she doing mentally? Mentally, how is she? Has she sort of been able to get back to how she was, or it's very devastating for her, and you have psychologists and everyone around her at the moment?
So I met her and she was so strong, na? That is why she could do there, and even from there also she's strong, but she's done her best.
Everyone around her at the moment.
She was so strong. So she's strong, but she's done her best, I think, to reduce the weight, what I felt. Best, but even for hair also they have cut, no? So,
Dr. Padriwala, और हम क्या कर सकते हैं कि आगे ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो? किसी को तो responsibility लेनी पड़ेगी.
See, every human body is different. And you can try the processes again and again and again, and that's what training is. कि अगर आप train कर रहे हो, you train yourself, you train yourself, you train yourself, so that when the day of participation comes, you do well. So the same way, a supports team also does the same process. They train the body, that every time, you could achieve that same result. But as you know, many people train so well, they achieve their personal best in training. But when it comes to participation, sometimes the body may not be, for many variable reasons, able to achieve that. because of how different the human body is for everyone else. So the same thing here, that you can do that whole process of weight loss multiple times, and multiple times that whole process may have worked. But if time is sometimes short, it may not necessarily work. So what are her options? So her options are that when she is competing these difficult bouts, she doesn't take fluid and she doesn't take something that's going to give her energy and lose the semi-final, or think that let me get my semi-final done. I need enough strength, enough hydration at least to go through my semi-final bout, and then I'll work towards what comes after that. And so that's the approach that she took, and medically that's the correct approach. And I think that if we just had a little more time, unfortunately we just didn't have that time. So if say, in the future, rules were made where you have enough time, it's not 12 hours that you have to do a weigh-in, but you have, say, 16 hours or 18 hours, I think it becomes easier for us as medical support staff to achieve that goal.
Doc, was the Indian condition, has she never encountered a situation like this before? Would Vinesh have known her? I mean, was there a situation that Vinesh didn't know her body very well, how much weight she could cut in the space of 12 hours? Or did this just come about suddenly?
I think whenever something like this happens, this has happened last night. We've been up right from 10 o'clock when this process started, and all of us have been doing this whole thing throughout the night. I think it takes some time before we can analyze the situation, audit, and try and see what are the processes that we can do that are going to make it better. This right now is the gold standard, but is the gold standard good enough? Can we do something better? I think we'll need to assess, analyze, and we haven't had the time to do that as yet.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Raj sir, thank you.
Thank you for your support of Olympic.
So total heartbreak, the explanations, the questions, the absolute, lack of any possible recourse now. Protests have been lodged, investigations will happen, but who will be held accountable for this? This was not just about Vinesh. She had a very, very qualified staff around her. How could they have not seen what was going on? How could they have not prepared for this? It's easy to point fingers now. It's tempting to want someone to blame, but the question is, with a goal within grasping distance from a heroic athlete like Vinesh Phogat, who stole this from her? We will demand accountability from the Indian Olympic Association, from Olympic Gold Quest and all the other agencies involved in this, including in the government. We're taking a very quick break. On the other side, Bangladesh continues to simmer, and it seems like for the moment, India is stuck with Sheikh Hasina while her arch-rival Khalida Zia rises back to power in Bangladesh.
To say hello, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
The grandest stage.
The ultimate challenge.
Where dreams are made.
And legends are born.
The pinnacle of sportsmanship.
Where new heroes will rise and old records will fall.
As the Olympic journey begins, our nation unites in a single resounding cheer. Go India, go for glory.
Go India, go for glory. Only on India Today.
देखिए, बहुत बड़ा षड्यंत्र है हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ, हमारे पहलवानों के खिलाफ। और जिस लड़की ने इसने इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है तो काबिल तारीफ है। और लेकिन कई लोगों को ये खुशी हजम नहीं हुई शायद। और हम लोग कहते कि एक रात में 5-5-6 केजी वेट कम कर सकते हैं, तो हमारे लिए 100 ग्राम करना कौन सी बड़ी बात है। तो मैं मानता हूँ कहीं ना कहीं इसमें किसी को प्रॉब्लम हुई है और वो इसके नतीजे से खुश नहीं थी शायद, इस तरह का इसलिए स्टेप उठा गया कि उनको डिस्क्वालीफाई कर दिया 100 ग्राम के लिए। आई थिंक उनको एक टाइम मिलना चाहिए था, एक मौका मिलना चाहिए था कि अगर वो उसको एक मिलता, जैसे हमारा 100 ग्राम या 200 या आधा किलो है, तो हमें एक टाइम मिलता है 1 घंटे का कि इसमें आप कम करके आइए, तो उसको ये मौका मिलता तो एक बहुत बड़ी एक कहते कि
ये आप क्यों बोलते हो कि षड्यंत्र है, ये षड्यंत्र है, कॉन्स्पिरेसी है, ऐसा क्यों बोलते हो?
ऐसा नहीं होता, हमने कभी नहीं देखा। अभी हिंदुस्तान ने 3 ओलंपिक पार्टिसिपेट किया, कभी किसी एथलीट के साथ ऐसा नहीं हुआ।
around to say hello. I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Vinesh all-night workout to meet Olympic final weight limit ends in vain. Congress leader Khurshid says Bangladesh situation can happen in India. Waqf bill amends powers of board to decide Waqf property.
पूरे भारत का सपना चकनाचूर हो गया। विनेश फोगाट, भारत की वो बहादुर बेटी जो सेमीफाइनल जीतकर फाइनल में पहुंची थी, और किस पहलवान को हराया था जो पिछले 82 बार से कभी हार नहीं रही थी। ऐसे पहलवान को जो 4 बार की विश्व चैंपियन थी, उसको पराजित किया, फाइनल में पहुंची। और अब कहा जा रहा है कि विनेश फोगाट 100 ग्राम ओवरवेट है। ये कितनी हास्यास्पद है, कितनी अपने आप में मजाक।
And viewer, we have the first photograph now of Vinesh Phogat after the terrible disappointment of her disqualification. The first picture of Vinesh Phogat after her disqualification. This is a picture inside a clinic where you can see the Indian Olympic Association president meeting with her. This is after a night full of toil. You can see her hair has been shaved. She has dropped some weight. It's visible. She's smiling, but it looks like she has spent some time crying as well. Not surprising at all. First pictures of a shattered star, but still smiling, still standing. That is the brave Vinesh Phogat, ladies and gentlemen. First picture of our golden girl, the warrior from India who had a gold medal with her name on it, crushingly disappointed by the cruelty of sporting rules at the Olympics that she could not have transgressed. And while answers will be sought over what happened and why Vinesh Phogat was let down, perhaps by her support staff or others, this is a smiling, strong Vinesh Phogat. Still smiling and still strong and not cowering at all. It is clear that her hair has been cut. That was revealed by Dinshaw Pardiwala about attempts made to shed as many grams as possible for that final weigh-in, but it was all in vain. Rahul Rawat is live with me from... Rahul Rawat is live with us on the phone line from the Games Village in Paris. Rahul, this first picture coming in from the Games Village, PT Usha meeting with Vinesh Phogat. She's got, a smile on her face, but there are tears in her eyes, it looks like. Tell us about this picture. PT Usha was also speaking about it just now.
Well, PT Usha and along with other administrators of the Indian Olympic Association and the contingent were there at the Games Village. In fact, they've been there at the Games Village for quite a long time now. And these images, these are fresh. Just a few hours from now they were taken. And you can see Vinesh, she's emotionally and physically drained out, but she still has that smile on her face and she knows what she's lost, what was in her grasp. She had done everything that she could. But unfortunately, as the rules of the game are, she has now been disqualified. Unfortunately, her third Olympic attempt was so near yet so far as Olympics are concerned. You wait for 4 years. But the good news is that even when she was moved to the polyclinic within the Games Village, and she was given fluids and everything just to get her strength back. And, we don't realize, I think we are just looking it as, Shiv, we are just looking it as an athlete who fought so very well and lost a medal. It's not just losing a medal. She could have lost her life. I think a lot of people are not mentioning. We just can't imagine the kind of pain she must have been through since last night, not being able to eat. It must have been so stressful for her. And that is the reason why she was taken to the hospital. She couldn't eat. Her body was demanding her to take something, to have something, to eat something, but she couldn't. And for somebody, a top-level athlete who's been constantly fighting, who's been battling through these bouts since yesterday, for her, it must have been, it is emotionally very draining. But I think we are not... discussing the fact that what it could have done to her body, to her life, to her health also.
I hope she's getting enough support at this point in terms of, psychological help and, others who will be there to support her in every way possible, Rahul.
Well, thankfully, what the Indian athletes now, they can say that, there are psychologists around them. And but even in the morning when it came, when we got to know that she's now been moved to the hospital within the premises of the Games Village, it was a little worrisome. But now what has happened is she's stable. That is what we've been told. In fact, she's been stable for quite some time now, and it will take her some time to get over this mental trauma of. Not being able to win a medal that was her for the taking. she had done everything in her might. She had beaten that reigning Olympic champion, and thereafter 2 more bouts, pretty easy for her. She just had to go there and stand on the mat. Even if she would have lost, she would have still finished as a silver medalist. Not many athletes in the country have won a silver medal, especially in individual sport. Sushil is one, Ravi Daya is one, we know Vijay Kumar, a shooter, is one, and not a lot of medalists. Of course, Neeraj Chopra and Abhinav, they have a gold. How many silver medals? So imagine she didn't even have, it was such how stressful it must have been. Just a matter of 100 grams. We saw the 100-meter finals the other day. It was a fraction of a second, 500th of a second, and the winner was decided. So this is what these Olympic Games demand. You can miss anything. You can miss a medal by 500th of a second. You can miss a bout if you are just 100 grams overweight. What is 100 grams, Shiv? You very well know what is 100 grams. 100 grams is virtually nothing. It is nothing if you see. It is just, paper. That's all.
Absolutely.
And she was disqualified just because her weight was 100 grams over what it should have been. So, but those are the rules. And last, our colleague spoke to the International Body Federation's president, and he's made it loud and clear. That's it. It has to stop. It is now over for Vinesh Phogat. Unfortunately, her third attempt at the Olympics. Again, she has to come back empty-handed. Last Tokyo Olympics, we remember she came back on a wheelchair. That's how her surgery went. She had an ACL surgery in 2023. So her and also what she's been through in the last 14, 15 months. You know it very well. So things have changed, but thankfully, I think a top-level athlete from India has survived. I hope she survives the mental trauma as well, because we know what she's been through. She was the face of a protest in the country that everybody talked about, and then she fought her way into the selection trials, qualified for the Olympics, defeated the world champion, and it is Shiv. This is Vinesh Phogat. Trust me, had it been any other athlete who would have won a first-round bout, trust me, it wouldn't have made that bigger news. Trust me, because Shiv, we've been playing this all over since yesterday morning.
Yes.
When Vinesh won her first bout, she defeated an Olympic champion. She defeated a world champion. That is precisely the reason that she was a news, and also because she was Vinesh Phogat. For a very long time, we've been thinking that we've been wondering, why is Vinesh Phogat not winning an Olympic medal? Because she was that talented. She was that hardworking. So she deserved. But unfortunately, the day she had, she deserved a medal. But rules are rules. That's what the UWW, the World Body Federation chief, has said.
Rahul, stay with me. Nikhil is also live with us from Paris. Nikhil, this picture speaks so loudly, clear. We all knew that Vinesh Phogat is made of some very special stuff, but this picture sort of radiates it. She's got tears in her eyes, but she's still smiling. We can see that her hair's been cut short, but she still exudes power, strength, mental strength, stamina. She's clearly drained, but, just sending out a message of not being defeated. This is such an incredibly painful but inspiring image.
It is indeed, Shiv. It is indeed. In fact, we just saw that image. I'm right at the Olympic Village, and PT Usha was here. She's the one who actually shared that image with her. She said she's fine, because a lot of journalists were asking that, hope she's fine, because she had to be given a lot of, drips, so that dehydration that she had suffered because of not having any sort of water leading up to the weigh-in. Is she fine? So she shared this picture with us saying, yes, she is. I've just met her. And it also, there was a lot of theories doing the round on social media that, couldn't more things have been done? For example, her cutting her hair. This is the other thing that picture makes it very clear, that they tried everything possible. Very interesting to note right now, listening to Dr. Pardiwala, who is the team doctor here, saying that if the weighing in wasn't in the morning at 7 a.m., because remember, Vinesh's bout is right at the at about 7:30, 8 p.m. Here in Paris time, close to midnight there in India. So if the weighing in could have been around noon or maybe even a couple of hours later than it was originally scheduled early in the morning, if the weighing in was a few hours later, probably she would have managed to reduce that 100 kilos. Now, now I understand also why she ran out of the mix zone yesterday. We were there at a semi-final, which she won, and right after that she reaches the mix zone where she's supposed to speak to the athletes. She came in and she ran. She did not stop, she ran. And now we've gotten to know why she did that, because she knew time was of the essence and she had to start immediately to lose her weight. And she had about, 18 odd hours or slightly less than 18 hours to do that. Had that 18 gone on to 24 hours or even close to 20 hours, she probably would have managed. I think you fell short by just a very small margin, as is now illustrated with that 100 gram that we're talking about where she was overweight.
Nikhil, a lot of people will be wondering now, what next for Vinesh? Is she going to be, coming back to India anytime soon? Is she going to be staying back there? Any light you can throw on that? Because, this is off schedule now. Her run at the Olympics is over. So what happens next?
Shiv, she is most likely going to be heading back to India. She had been away from India for some time now, training around Europe, participating in competitions leading up to the games here in Paris. Now that her event is done, I think they'll probably keep her under observation for a day or two, and most likely she's going to be traveling back home. I think that's when she will, take stock of the entire situation. Right now, we aren't hearing anything from her or from her immediate team of doctor and physios that she has, which are her private, physio as well as coach that she has. So at the moment, what we're getting to hear, most likely she is going to be traveling back to India. We'll keep our viewers on India Today updated with that too.
Nikhil, we'll come right back to you in just a moment. That image of a hero, a golden girl, make no mistake that Vinesh Phogat had her name on that gold medal, and this is being said with no emotion at all, the kind of momentum that she had. Take a look at those pictures from Tuesday and from Wednesday. You can see how much hair has had to be cut in order to try, with hope against hope, to meet that weight requirement. But all of that very, very crushingly was in vain. The shortening of clothes, the cutting of hair, the sauna, the skipping, the cycling, the running, none of it finally resulted in Vinesh Phogat qualifying as far as her weight category is concerned. I'm going to hand you back now to Nikhil live from Paris over the next hour. Our most detailed look at a day of heartbreak for one of our biggest and most inspiring sporting warriors. It's over to you, Nikhil.
Well, thanks a lot for that, Shiv. Yes, we're coming to you live from Paris. This is Go for Glory, but unfortunately, no great news to report from here after what has happened with Vinesh Phogat. We were all prepping up to be gearing up for her bout, which was going to be a gold medal bout that she would have been participating in today, but that is not to be after the weighing in that happened this morning, where she was found to be just 100 grams overweight. After that, she had a bit of an incident where she was dehydrated. She was admitted to the local hospital here inside the Games Village. That's exactly where we're coming to you live from. But the latest image that we are showing you right now is of Vinesh Phogat, who is looking fit. She's of course looking distraught, as you can see on the screen right now. She is, clearly not in the frame of mind that she would have been otherwise had she been playing the final. But also what you can see in those pictures are hair. Remember her, fighting those previous 3 rounds with hair up until her shoulders. Now you can see her in really short hair right now, which also tells you that every little effort that they could make to ensure that she loses that last bit of weight actually went in vain, and it wasn't possible to have her under the 50 kilogram category that she was participating in. It tends to happen. Just to let you know, she had gained about 2.7 kilos over the period of Tuesday. Remember, on Tuesday morning when she was weighing in, she was sub 50 kilograms, and over the course of her 3 bouts, because she was replenishing the salts in her body, the water in her body, the food that she needed at that time, by the end of the day she had gained about 2.7 kilos. That proved to be next to impossible for her to cut down come the day of the final. Let's look at that entire story and how that panned out.
Vinesh Phogat was on her way to creating history at the Paris Olympics. But just hours later, her dream was shattered as she was disqualified from the gold medal bout. The wrestler had defeated reigning Olympic 50 kg champion Yui Sasaki on her road to the final. In the semi-final, she had outclassed Cuba's Yuslenis Guzman 5-0 to assure at least a silver. However, on the morning of the final, Vinesh missed the weight cut by a little over 100 grams that led to her disqualification. The 29-year-old's campaign came to a morale-shattering halt as she was eliminated ahead of the final. Vinesh and his support staff tried everything, including extreme measures like cutting her hair and attempting to draw out blood, but all their efforts went to no avail.
In the morning, we found that despite all of our efforts, her weight was 100 grams over her 50 kilogram weight category, and hence she was disqualified. We had tried all possible drastic measures throughout the night, including cutting off her hair, shortening her clothes, and despite all of this, we could not make that 50 kg weight category.
The rules are very clear when it comes to such situations. If an athlete does not attend or fails the weigh-in, he or she will be eliminated from the competition and ranked last without a ranking. India have lodged a protest and the Wrestling Federation chief has vowed to take up the matter with the highest authorities.
उम्मीद पे तो हम टिके हैं और अभी हम लड़ रहे हैं. मैं तो अंतिम दम तक प्रयास करूंगा कि ये मेडल हम किसी भी तरह से मुझे फाइट का मौका मिल जाए और मेडल हिंदुस्तान की झोली में डालवा सकूं.
The Olympics, which is the highlight of an athlete's career, has never left happy memories for Vinesh Phogat. In Paris, her perfect redemption story was just one chapter away, but in a sheer anti-climax, Vinesh has been denied a place in history. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Now, the way this story has been unfolding, I'm sure a lot of you have plenty of questions on your mind. What we're going to try and do for the next couple of minutes is really break down this entire fiasco, this controversy that has erupted here, and breaking down by answering the most frequently asked questions, the FAQs that are on the mind of all sporting fans, in fact, by just sporting fans all across India that had been glued to Vinesh's fight yesterday and were interested to see her gold medal bout today. Here are the the most commonly asked questions and our answers to each one of them. The first one, of course, that everyone is asking, could within the 50 kilogram category in which she was participating, then fine, you can pull out and then you get the silver medal. So at no point could this strategy have been employed by Vinesh and her team, that she pulls out knowing fully well that she might be overweight and then at least ends up with a bronze medal. So that is the first question answered, the first frequently asked question about this entire fiasco. The next question that everyone is asking, could she have cut hair or drain her blood to lose weight? Well, tell you what, let's start with the first option that people are saying, because you saw her fighting with hair about till her shoulder length. Could she have cut it really short and then competed? The answer to that question is something that we gave right at the top of the show when we showed you her latest picture from the hospital bed, which is right on my left at the moment, which is where the Olympic Village is. She is being admitted there. You saw her latest picture. So they did cut her hair. So they cut her hair as short as, you know, my hair at the moment. So as short as they could to ensure that even those few grams could have been taken care of. But unfortunately, even that could not happen. So far as draining blood is concerned, that wasn't an option. You cannot be doing it because remember, she's an athlete, she's competing, she's anyway really starved for food. She's only had one meal over a period of almost 40 hours while she's competed, and she would be competing in the final. So with all that in mind, this is not something that they could have done. So this is another option that could not have been exercised, and some of it was, but really did not help. The next big question to which everyone is looking for an answer to is, did Vinesh's support staff botch up? And whatever we are getting to hear at the moment, the answer to that would be a partial yes. Because they knew this was the scenario. They knew for the last few months she has been participating in 50 kilogram category, a weight category that is much less than her natural weight. She went to the Olympic qualifiers as well, where she had to drastically cut her weight down. So this is an exercise that they have been following for the last few months. Agreed that for a 57, 58 natural weight category player to drop down to 50, about 7-8 kilos is not easy. Agreed. But it's not something that they hadn't done before. And they faltered at the most important part, which is just before her final. The team did try. She ran off as soon as she finished her final bout last night. She ran off to start doing her skipping, sweating, sauna, cycling, various other things, just cutting off water and everything to bring her weight down, which had gone to 52.7, but it could not be achieved. What we're getting to know now from the Wrestling Federation is that they're going to order an inquiry, look into it, that why this could not be managed. But to let you know that the medical staff here, we heard from Dr. Pardiwala as well, where he said everything that you can think of, medically, everything that you can think of was done. If you had gone a step further to try and do more drastic issues, then she wouldn't have been fit enough even to stand. And they could not risk something like that. So that's another question that has been answered in terms of the most commonly asked questions now that Vinesh is not going to be fighting her final. The next one is, should Vinesh have been given a silver since weight was in check earlier? And that's a tricky one. That's a very interesting one, because remember, day one when she fought, she was within the 50 kilogram category and she won her 3 bouts fair and square and she reached the final. So many are arguing, okay, fine, on the day of the final she's not with the weight category, don't allow her to compete with the final, but don't take away the medal that she had won earlier because of her winning those crucial encounters. The answer to that is the rules are pretty clear. This was mentioned earlier, and by the way, these aren't new rules. These rules were put into place way back in 2013. So it's been 11 years since these rules have been in play, that over a period of 2 days you have to be in the weight category, which is the one that you're participating in it. And if you cannot, then these steps will be taken. So on that count as well, no wrongdoing. They just followed exactly what they were supposed to do. And the final, most commonly asked question is, can disqualification be overturned following an appeal? The answer to that, unfortunately, at the moment is no. The decision now cannot be overturned. We already know the final. It's between the Cuban, the one that Vinesh beat in the semi-final, between her and the finalist that is going to be from the USA. That's decided. Vinesh will be classified last. The rules are in place. We've done an interview with the UWW chief as well. He's made it very clear that nothing can be done at the moment. See, whenever there's an issue in terms of refereeing standard, or there is an issue in terms of you're not happy with the kind of points that are given, then maybe you can file an appeal and that can be looked at, because there is ambiguity there. But in this case, what they're saying, it's a case of black and white, and in a case of black and white, there's nothing more that can be done. Let's listen into Dr. Pardiwala, who will explain a bit more in terms of what really happened, what are the things that they tried, and where is it that the Indian team faltered.
Her post-participation weight at the end of the semi-finals in the evening was found to be 2.7 kilograms more than the allowed weight. And the team and the coach started off their usual process, which is of course limitation of water, no food, and you started with the whole process of sweating it out. And typically, you require some amount of time for that, but unfortunately we didn't have too much time. We had just 12 hours. So the whole night, the entire team, went ahead with this whole process of trying to reduce her weight, putting her in a steam and sauna, making her exercise, and whatever was medically possible, we tried our best to try and get that weight down. At about 7:15 to 7:30 is the weigh-in, and we wanted to try the best, so we got her weight done right at the end at around 7:29. It was unfortunately 100 grams over 50 kilograms. If we maybe had a few hours more, we could have achieved that 100 grams, but we just didn't have that time.
Okay, we are also joined live by Dr. Narendra Batra, the former IOA chief. Dr. Batra, first up, in terms of the administration, do you think something more could have been done? Are you happy with the kind of efforts that the people here, that would include the chef de mission, the IOA chief, the doctors, the kind of steps that they've taken, are there enough, or do you think something more could have been done to salvage the situation?
I believe the normal है when you go for the wrestling bouts in a weight category, the weight does fluctuate, and it's normal to get their weight reduced. Now, what happened in this particular case, I cannot comment on it. Like I heard Dr. Pardiwala say that if they had more couple of hours, they could have managed it. So what happened, I have no idea, but I won't blame any administration or any IOA president or anyone for it. This is standard. It happens in all categories where you have weight restrictions. So there's nothing new in it.
Do you reckon, Dr. Batra, that the situation could have been slightly better managed in terms of, giving Vinesh that weight category? Remember, 53 kilogram category was her favored weight category. She was forced to participate in 50 simply because you had to accommodate Antim in the 53 kilogram category, who's played a bout and lost in the first round.
I don't know whether she was forced or not. No one goes into a forced category. If she chose 50 categories, weight category, then she should have made sure that she stays within that. But I don't think we should be discussing on that. It's a very sad thing.